Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you again late, though not as late as last week. We're going to get into that in a second. I want to talk briefly about that. But yes, we know we're late, but we have very cool reason why this time, and I'm looking forward to sharing somewhat immediately, but also probably more next week.
Yeah.
Because right now, it's episode 436. It's time to do the news. So we're going to do the news, but we'll touch on why we're late and what all happened this weekend, because we did some pretty fun and cool stuff. But if you don't like fun and cool stuff, well, you're probably on the right podcast. But anyways, you might want another episode of it. If so, check us out at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. Let's see, work we did for the haunt. I guess we'll just talk about what we were doing this weekend, because it ended up being work for the haunt.
It did.
On top of everything else. Okay, we got to get nerdy for a minute, because as you'll see in the question of the week, we were asking you some nerd shit.
Yeah.
And reason was because we were going to do some nerd shit. LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO, has two locations. One is in Washington State, and one, I found out, is in Livingston, Louisiana. Now, I thought since I hadn't heard of the town Livingston ever, and apparently for good fucking reason I hadn't heard of Livingston, that it was like somewhere far away. But it turns out it's only about an hour's drive from us.
Right.
And they hold Science Saturdays, a day for the public to come and take tours and do sciencey stuff and
ask lots of questions, take lots of pictures.
And so we spent pretty much most of the day Saturday at LIGO and in the surrounding area doing exactly that. And it was incredible. I'm looking forward to going back at some point. But the reason it was haunt work is because we came up with the theme for our yard display.
Yeah, we kind of had an idea that this was going to tie into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
We ruminated on it some while we were there. And
Marinade.
Yeah, it kind of came together.
Basically, last year we did all skeleton wrestling, had a wrestling ring and all that.
Yeah.
This year we're actually going to try to make it, I don't want to say educational, because educational may be strong, but we wanted to go to this because we knew they had a little science museum for kids where you could do these little, like, quote-unquote experiments. They're basically like any other kid science museum on the planet with hands-on activities, and see if there were any we could incorporate into the skeleton display.
Yeah, so we're wanting to make it spooky, but a little bit educational and fun and interactive,
We want kids to be able to play around with a few things.
Yeah.
And so we've got a few ideas. We've marked a few of the exhibits they had as things that we can replicate on a smaller scale and in an outdoor environment. Because that's the tricky thing. It's got to be strong enough to survive the kids, full stop. Cheap enough for us to do, full stop. It's got to be able to survive the outdoors, including October New Orleans weather. Big problem, too. And so basically we had to make sure, it's got to be something we can actually, build.
Yeah.
It's got to be in our range of things we are physically capable of building, too. And, I got to say, there were a lot of ideas there I think are very much things we're capable of.
Yeah, we've got at least 3 things that we know we can build.
Yeah, and I think that's probably enough to at least get a very good start.
Yeah. Because we could have, like, little science facts, which is why we asked you what your favorite science fact was.
Yeah.
So that we can make it onto part of the display.
So I guess you could think of our yard display as being like either Beakman's World or Bill Nye themed, but with the hands-on experiences you would get at a children's museum.
And obviously skeletons.
Obviously skeletons. In fact, we should have, like, Bill Nye, the bony guy.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, I was already thinking about where my Einstein wig is. So I'm like,
we have to put one of the skeletons in a rat suit now. From Beakman's World.
Yeah.
That's got to happen now. That's just a legal requirement. Because I was a Beakman kid. I think we both were Beakman kids.
I was Bill Nye.
Okay, you were Bill Nye. I was a Beakman kid. But yeah, most of the world was Bill Nye, so I'm not shocked that I am alone in that.
Yeah.
I'm like one of like 5 people who remember Beekman from Beekman's World today.
So I think it might be the age difference between us. We're a couple years apart.
Yeah.
And my brother was a Beekman.
Oh, I think maybe more the age difference between me and your brother, too, because, yeah, I think that may also be it, too. I don't know, it's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but then again, even when I was growing up, like, most of the kids were Bill Nye, and I was the weirdo Beekman kid.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm used to being the weirdo kid, so I don't...
Well, I mean, so Beekman and MST3K kind of live in the same quality of universe.
Holy
like
shit.
The props.
I'm not sure who you're dunking on here at this point.
Well, no, I mean, like the sciencey sets have the same kind of feel.
Yeah, they do.
Except Beekman's has actual science, and MST3K obviously doesn't. Sometimes.
Anyway,
most of the time.
But anyways, so it's a cool idea. We actually got some really great ideas.
Yeah.
Very excited about it. Unfortunately, the reason why this week's episode is late is because we spent all day Saturday on that. News episodes take a lot more time to produce.
Yeah.
And Sunday, you were not feeling good.
No.
Feeling better. You felt better Monday, but by that point, we didn't have time to get it out Monday, so it's going to go out Tuesday evening. Sorry about that. At least it's not last week.
Yeah.
Where we had similar issues of trying to get everything done and we're late, but then the podcast wouldn't go up.
Yes. Hopefully that doesn't happen this week because we haven't actually tried yet because we're recording.
Yeah, it's hilarious because in order to save time, because one of the things we have with this podcast is we try to minimize the amount of time that we spend on it, A, so we can be on time,
mm-hmm.
and B, so that we don't get tired of it and give up. I mean, it's worked for 436 episodes. I know that we could probably get more listeners if we put a lot more effort into it. That's not the goal. We're just trying to have fun here.
Mm-hmm.
So I use a bunch of tools to help do the transcripts, the chapters, and things like that really help speed that process up. Well, one of those tools went a little bit apeshit and put some wonky code in the MP3 for the podcast that was going up, and that basically caused our podcast host to have a panic attack and die.
Yeah.
So they were able to sort it out, but it took an extra day and a half after we were already late. So I'm very sorry about how the podcast got. The YouTube version went up like that. It was fine. But sorry about that. Thank you all for your patience, and thank you all in advance for your understanding both this week and last week. All right, but on that note, every week we do ask a question of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And last week's question of the week was, what is your favorite science fact? Crystal, kick us off.
Daniel Barnett said, even though oceans cover 71% of the planet, humanity has only explored 5% of the world's oceans and mapped only 20% of the seafloor.
That is, I don't know about the exact percentages, but it's very true.
Yeah.
And it's even a little bit worse because, like, we have these very high resolution scans like the surface of Mars
mm-hmm.
and shit. We've sent orbiters up there to scan that planet. We know every nook and cranny of Mars, every nook and cranny of the moon. Even the parts that we've explored of the ocean, we oftentimes have very pathetic resolution on.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's 100% right.
Well, and like some of the scariest creatures I have seen have come from the deep ocean. Where there is no light and, there's...
And all the water pressure is contorting them into these weird shapes.
Yeah. So it's really interesting stuff down there.
Yeah. Really interesting, but really frightening stuff, just ask the people that try to visit the Titanic. Chris Gay said, the light you see from distant stars occurred thousands of years ago, so looking at the night sky is essentially traveling through time. Yes. Every time you look up, especially if you look through a telescope, you're looking back in time as well as looking into the distance. Now, one thing I think would be cool was if there was a site or an app or something that could help you find a star that's as many light years away as your age.
Yeah.
So that way you could be seeing a star that is literally looking at you the day you were born.
That is interesting. Hadn't thought of that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorites too. I actually just explained that to somebody and
you hurt them.
Yeah.
It didn't go particularly well.
No. But
anyway, moving on.
Isaac Schwalier said pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain that when you eat a pineapple, this enzyme digests protein in your body. It eats you back.
Which is why it goes on pizza.
Yes, but so...
Deadly pizza.
No. Fresh pineapple, you can actually feel this more than cooked, which would be on the pizza.
Yeah,
and there are others that do this also. Mango has a similar enzyme.
I'd heard it about pineapple. I did not know about mango.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Greg Packard, 85% of the universe is comprised of something we do not know about, and we call it dark matter. It's actually dark matter and dark energy.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the exact percentages. In fact, the percentages keep changing.
Well, because
their estimates keep changing. But that's about right. That's at least very close to right. And yeah, it's very, very fucky that the best idea we have is that 85% of this universe is shit we don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's just weird, man. It's unsettling.
Yeah. Sammy Days. Oxygen is not flammable.
Now, when I first read that, I thought he was bullshitting me. Mm-hmm. But then I had to think about it. And no, wait a minute. Oxygen makes other things flammable. Mm-hmm. Because it's such a reactive little bitch. I mean, oxygen just it likes to hook up with everything. It's oxygen.
Yeah.
It's wild like that. But yes, it is not flammable by itself. But it makes anything else that is potentially flammable. It makes it very, very much dangerous and flammable. So, yeah. And finally, right now, Quentin Thomas, did you know that the human body consists of over 50 sphincters, the majority of which are in your blood vessels, but also your eyes and each stage of your digestive tract? And Jerry Ferraccio responded, it's a good system. And yeah, because a sphincter is any circular muscle that pinches or clenches to keep one-way flow.
Yeah.
And there's lots of places you want that in your body.
Yeah, there are. We will, if we do anything with that, which I don't think we will, because I don't think calling them sphincters is appropriate for kids. But it is an interesting way to put it, because I don't think I've thought of every one of them as sphincters, more of valves or other things.
Orifices in general or whatever. One of my favorite science facts I've been pondering a lot today is that right now, the room you're sitting in, there's nothing preventing, other than the sheer improbability of it happening. Mm-hmm. There's nothing preventing all the air molecules from just racing to one corner away from you and suffocating you.
Yeah. It
could theoretically happen to you at any time. Have fun with your existential dread, kids! Some people are now hyperventilating. I hope not. No. Do you have a favorite one, Dad?
Oh, the Star One's one that I pull up a lot.
That's a really good one.
I also kind of refer to stars as ghosts sometimes when I'm,
because a lot of them are probably gone.
It's something that people understand.
Yeah.
If they don't understand the concept of traveling.
In fact, right now the star Beetlejuice, not the movie Beetlejuice, the star Beetlejuice, may already be gone.
Yeah.
Even though that's a fairly close star, it's believed it may have gone supernova in the last 100 years or so, and we may not be seeing it yet, but we will be seeing it soon. It's something that could happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think that we could see a giant supernova with our naked eye in our lifetime. Yeah, fuck you, lunar eclipse. That's the real money.
Well, it's going to be the same here as it was that day.
Oh my fucking Jesus. I am so pissed about that still. Oh my God. Because we got the fucking eclipse glasses, and even though New Orleans was not in the path of totality, we were supposed to get 80-90% coverage.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be really good coverage. And honestly, I just didn't want to go anywhere else for it.
Yeah.
So I was going to just be happy with 89%. But guess what? I didn't get a fucking eclipse. Why? Because it's April in New Orleans in the afternoon. The sky was overcast as fuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't see shit. On the upside, my eyes are okay, but I guarantee you I didn't damage them staring at the eclipse, because what eclipse? I just see a fucking cloud.
There was a cloud that was a little bit brighter than the other clouds, and that was all we could see.
And it's bad, because one of our friends wrote right around the time the eclipse was happening and said, hey, is it getting darker outside because of a storm, or is it the eclipse? And I'm like, it's the storm. I wish it were not. I wish it were the eclipse.
Yeah.
Because it's and it's so wild, because I made the joke about it's New Orleans spring day, but we've actually had very clear weather running up to this. Mm-hmm. And then, like, just Monday, just shit all over everything for us.
And then it was pretty cloudy today, and it'll be storming tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, like, severe weather tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be clear, like, Thursday. So, fuck you, Gaia. Fuck you, weather gods. Fuck you, Storm from the X-Men.
Yeah.
You could have fixed this storm, and you didn't. I no longer believe.
Just give us a little peek.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up, we have to do some conference reminder.
Actually, we have to ask the question.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We haven't done that. Sorry, you're right. Go do that for me then, because I'm an idiot.
All right. How do you celebrate halfway to Halloween? That's the question.
Panic is how I celebrate it.
Yeah.
Because we are farther along than we usually are, but not as far along as I want to be.
Yeah, I think this weekend, since we don't have a mini trip, which is something that we're starting to do, we'll probably be putting some walls back into place, like building new ones and putting them into place, and securing the walls that are right now not very secured.
No, please do not go into our haunt right now, not without all your proper protective equipment, because you may die. And I will not take responsibility if you go in there without my permission.
Yeah. Yeah, we have in our garage, we have our washer and dryer, and the walls in front of it are doors, so that we can use them throughout the year. But those walls right now are not attached to anything, so the doors are permanently open. and the walls just kind of swing a little bit.
Yeah, because one of the walls we had to take out was a quote-unquote support. How in the fuck did we justify that as our support system for that?
I don't know.
I know we did that like 10 years ago.
Well, we've also got like a half wall that's part of another wall, and if we had just like built one straight wall instead of a half wall, then we wouldn't have had to have taken out. I'm making everybody confused.
Yeah,
because I know what I'm talking about, and nobody else does.
I only have a small idea what the fuck you're talking about.
I know.
And I've been in there.
I know. So anyway, the wall that we were really worried about taking out, when we took it out, I realized there was another half wall on the side of it, and if we take that out, then we have a panel width there that we can just make that whole side flat.
Like a U that would fit square against the washer and dryer.
Yeah.
And it would be self-standing.
Exactly.
That's what you're getting at.
Exactly.
But we were idiots.
Well, we built it, piecemeal along the years.
And honestly, like, one of the things I have to keep reminding myself is that it's only been in recent years we've been able to confidently get the supplies we need.
Yeah.
For everything we're building. Because money situation's improved. Things have happened. Things have changed. So I have to be a little kinder to decade ago us.
Yeah.
Because we were probably working with scraps on the boat. So we were probably just trying to put it together in a way that worked.
Oh, yeah. I almost came home with a buttload of scraps.
I am not surprised to hear that. I am never surprised to hear that as a danger in my life. And all you did is go to the yarn store where you have your second office.
Yeah.
I can't have second office now.
Yeah. No, there's a house renovating and they threw out some pink studwood.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pink kind is nice.
But
it is.
It is.
It is because it slots in the uprights.
I know, but it looked like it had like tons of nails and shit on it.
That's okay. At that point, we'll buy our own pink wood.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, now ICANN has conference reminder?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll kick us off this week. Coming up this weekend, it's Fear Expo Live in Owensboro, Kentucky, April 12th to the 14th at the Owensboro Convention Center. Free admission. Also has an ultimate taunt tour. They taunt you the entire time. The Ultimate Haunt Tour, featuring 6 different haunts, costume contest, and other great things. FearExpoLive.com.
Right, April 25th through the 28th, that's the East Coast Haunters Convention in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. Friday Haunt Tour featuring Eastern State Penn, Bates Motel, and Pennhurst Asylum. Otherworld Party will be Saturday night, and this is put on by the Transworld people, EastCoastHauntersConvention.com.
All right, and the spooky swap meet is April 26th through the 20th in Los Angeles, California, Heritage Square Museum. Great place to purchase those gently loved items. Includes costumes, decor, and more. Co-founded of the Midsummer's, run by the co-founder of Midsummer Scream, SpookySwapMeet.com for your information.
Then Halfway to Halloween Expo will be May 11th.
Which is actually a little bit after Halfway to Halloween.
Anyway, it's going to be May 11th in Ann Arbor, Michigan, at the Washtenaw Farm Council grounds. 140 vendors there. Food trucks, Hearst Show. Sounds like a lot of fun. Halfway to Halloween, mi.com.
That's great to me. Well, on that note, as we mentioned just a little bit ago, it's episode 436, divisible by 4. It means it's time to do the news. And we have a shockingly large amount of news.
Yeah.
We've had, the past few months have been kind of rough on getting news.
Yeah.
There was no issue. In fact, we've held some stories back, potentially for next month. So don't be surprised if there's a few stories from, March, April, in the next one if it's slow again. Mm-hmm. But first up, Crystal, do you want to take this one or you want me to?
I think this is a doozy that it's going to take both of us to get through, but I will start us off.
Kick us off and I'll jump in at some point.
So, McKamey Manor, exposure from Hulu documentary that led to the lawsuit against Tennessee Attorney General. This article is by Craig Shoup at the Tennessean. That is a confusing headline because basically has countersued the Attorney General's office.
Uno reverse card.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, basically, Russ McKamey has filed a lawsuit against the Tennessee State Attorney General. Now, we'll recall a while back, we were talking about how the Attorney General had launched an investigation into McKamey Manor and had sent, we'll say, an inquiry. Yeah. Demanding details about the business, asking a bunch of questions about it, and also apparently inspecting the grounds it was at, too. Mm-hmm. That apparently did not go well in Russ McKamey's mind. Yeah. Because he filed a lawsuit against the Attorney General, and he's claiming violations of his First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. Now, if it's been a while since you've been in the Constitution class, or you are one of our Canadian listeners, the First Amendment deals with the right to free speech and freedom of religion. Fourth Amendment deals with the right of search and seizure of one's property. And Fifth Amendment right deals with the right of self-incrimination. All of these, by and large, are good rights that I support. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you get a fairly basic inquiry from the Attorney General about your business and immediately start taking the Fifth Amendment, that's usually not a good look. No. That's usually considered bad. Like I said, big supporter of the amendment. It is very important, and it is a key constitutional right that we should all remember. But this wasn't that much of a grilling inquiry, No. Just asking some fundamentals about the business and investigating.
Yeah, and this happened on April 8th, by the way.
Well, the meeting was supposed to happen in April. I think they filed a lawsuit ahead of that meeting.
Well, yeah. But on the 8th, he pled the Fifth. Yeah. And would not talk. Yeah. At the meeting.
Yeah, basically he said the evidence obtained at that hearing could be used to prosecute him.
Oh, and if you think that, that's his First Amendment right that he's talking about, it has nothing to do with that meeting. No. The fourth, we'll do the fourth next. That one's obvious. The Attorney General also sent someone over to inspect the barn that he was using in some of the videos. Mm-hmm. And, you go back to and look at the Reckless Ben videos and other stuff. It was obvious he was still using the barn and his things. And they found 4 building code violations at the barn, each of them a Class C felony. And I actually went to Tennessee's legal code and looked this up. Mm-hmm. A Class C felony in Tennessee is punished with 1 to 6 years in prison and or a $3,000 fine. Yeah. So these are not these are significant. If anything, any felony is significant. Mm-hmm. But these are not murder felonies, but these are still significant felonies. So, yeah, he claims the investigation is targeted and politically motivated, which is part of why he's saying it's a violation of his First Amendment rights against freedom of speech. Basically, they're not letting him say and do the things he wants to do. Therefore, it's in a violation of the First Amendment. Yeah, and I'm actually going to read this part verbatim. Okay. Because it doesn't make sense. No. Yeah, so McKamey filed a violation of his First Amendment right in the lawsuit, saying Lawrence repeatedly demanded that he submit a sworn affidavit attesting that for building code violations were discovered on the property.
Now, that affidavit is just saying that the violations were discovered.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, admittedly, I have not read the affidavit, but it sounds like when the cop asks you to sign the speeding ticket, indicate that you received
exactly. Or like after your annual review, they're like, here, sign this.
This isn't like admission of guilt or no. But it's an acknowledgement. We found this and you have received this.
Yes, we've talked about it. You know about it. Sign it.
It's basically process service, and it's something like that. So yeah, he's basically going after the Attorney General, and I mean,
yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he's claiming that it's a targeted and politically motivated attack.
I mean, I'll agree it's targeted. It's targeted because you're McKamey Manor
and you're doing dumb shit.
There's no politics involved in it, to my knowledge. I honestly don't know anything about Russ McKamey's politics, and I'm going to try to keep it that way, motherfucker.
Yeah, as far as I know, he's not running for office or anything.
Yeah, so I don't really give a shit about your politics. But no, it's because you're a fucking hazard to other people around you, and you're a hazard to the haunted attraction industry. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, god damn. If you are a Tennessee-based haunted attraction, I want to extend my deepest personal sympathies to you that you have to share a state and an attorney general with this asshole who, God knows, I mean, look, it wouldn't be fair to the industry for the attorney general to blame the entire haunted attraction industry for someone who's not even a member of it.
Right.
But honest to God, could you blame him if he did?
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that we usually don't cover news about him.
No.
Except when it's something like this.
That's super important.
That's out of the ordinary. It's just, we don't consider him a haunt. Most of the industry doesn't consider him a haunt. News media doesn't know the difference. It's kind of like knowing the difference between copyright and patent.
Yeah, or trademark, yeah. Anyway, let's move on, because I'm just going to keep getting madder and madder.
Yeah.
This next story comes from the Niles Scream Park Facebook, so we're getting it from the horse's mouth here. Mm-hmm. But basically, Niles Scream Park has announced that it is closing the Dark Territory haunted ride. Basically, they actually were very transparent about their reasons.
Yeah.
They said it was the most expensive attraction to operate safely as a hayride. I can imagine that. The family that worked with the park and really was the core of that ride may not be able to participate in future years. And patrons also were disappointed that they could not do more with it than safety would allow them to do. And basically, because it's a motorized ride, there was restrictions on what the actors could and couldn't do, and they couldn't give as good of a show as they wanted. They did say that a new attraction will take its place in the upcoming season. They did not say what. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they have ended the Dark Territory ride. And honestly, this is the way you handle this kind of bad news. Because people are going to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. So you try to get them looking forward to the new thing.
Yeah, well, and you also explain to them why.
Yeah.
You don't just say it's gone tough, deal with it. Mm-hmm. They actually gave very logical, very reasonable reasons for doing it. Mm-hmm. And even if that had been my favorite thing at the Scream Park, I've never been to Niles Scream Park, even if I had been in love with that ride passionately and deeply, I would go, you know what? It makes sense. I'm going to see what they do next year. Yeah. I would be a lot more understanding. This is that transparency thing I keep talking about. So, Niles, I'm sorry that you guys had to close it. Mm-hmm. Your reasoning seems sound, and great job on being transparent and communicating that to your fans. Wonderful work. Yes. All right, next story.
All right. So, we have our first HHN Halloween Horror Night story.
And Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this article is by Shane Romanchik at thecollider.com. And basically, they're opening up August 30th. That's the earliest they have ever opened. So it's going to be a really long run from them, August 30th through November 3rd. Tickets are already on sale.
They have not announced on their site any of the haunted houses or scare zones or anything yet.
No. They're saying that there'll be 10
Yeah.
houses, 5 scare zones, and more
And
entertainment.
like lots of live entertainment stuff.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah, but
kind of stuff.
but you hit the points, which is it opens August 30th. Now they only run it on weekends.
Yeah.
Or I think it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But they have 48 nights total.
Yeah.
That is incredibly long season. And I was thinking about this before we got on. I don't think I've ever been to a haunt in August.
No.
That was as part of the regular season. Like a year-round haunt's a different question, obviously.
Right.
But a seasonal haunt as part of the regular season in August, I don't think I've ever done that.
No.
So that is wild to me. So yeah, they are greatly. I mean, I don't know how much of an expansion it is, but honestly, just crossing that line into August feels huge.
Yeah.
It could only be one more weekend for all I know, but still, it feels huge.
That's all. Yeah. It does.
It's like when you cross that line from like charging $999 something to crossing $1,000.
Yeah.
It feels huge, even if it's only like a couple of bucks. You know.
Yeah, if you're interested in that kind of math, there are several studies about.
Oh God, there's so many good studies.
The point prices for when people have to think about whether or not they're going to spend that much.
Yeah, like I know on my business, I do things wrong by putting everything in round numbers. You're supposed to do 49, 59, 69, nice, 79, etc., and all that. But I don't like playing those games.
Mm-mm.
I'm just not comfortable with it. I want to be as fair and transparent as I can be. All right, but speaking of Halloween horror, well, Universal Studios, I should say, not HHN, Universal Studio Resort reveals the new details about How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, a larger-than-life world of Viking adventures that's coming to the Epic Universe. Universal Epic Universe. Jesus goddamn Christ, you can't say that. Holy shit, that rolls off the tongue like a socket set in 2025. This is a press release by them, but basically they've offered their first sneak peek at the Isle of Berk, which I know that's the island.
Yes.
But every time I say it, I go, Berka, Berka, Berka. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I go full Swedish chef on this shit, man. Berka, Berka, Berka. But anyways, it'll be one of 5 worlds at the new Universal Epic Universe. Jesus Christ! Fix the fucking name! Theme park that opens in 2025. It'll feature a variety of rides and attractions themed to, most importantly for me, a meat hall.
Yeah. Very, very important.
Just getting the important shit out of the way. It will have a meat. I mean, yeah, they'll have roller coasters and shit too, but a meat hall.
Yeah. And dragons, obviously.
It actually looks really, really cool. The artwork, the concept art they actually have in this. This is one of those definitely where I would click the link. I mean, it's all concept art. Who the fuck knows how it's going to come out?
I mean, you know.
I can draw this too, but look at me.
The Willy Wonka was all
concept
art.
Fuck's
So you
sake.
saw how that went.
And fun fact.
That's my problem with that, is because there are things happening in New Orleans that have that same kind of marketing, and they look like they'd be cool, but now I'm gun shy about going, because what if it's just a Wonka?
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Oh, God.
All right, I'm moving on to the next one.
Please do.
All right, the Trenton City Commission hears a plan to convert old Gilchrist County Jail into a museum. This is on WCJB.com. Article by
Zischel, yeah, Zischel
Salashi. Yeah.
Apologies.
Sorry
we tried.
Yes, I really should have watched the video if it was available.
Anyway.
And anyway. So the owner wants to convert it into a museum. There was an attempt to turn it into a haunted attraction that failed. They have been as far back as I could find in newspaper articles, they were holding Halloween events there with, it was more of a haunted place than a haunted attraction.
Yeah.
Sway to it, but that's what they're doing. So now they're giving up on that. They're turning it into a museum. Unclear why they've decided to go that direction.
Yeah, and I couldn't find anything about why it didn't work.
I couldn't either. It's going to be donation only.
Yeah. So basically, he's giving up, I think, turning any kind of a profit from this, which may be for the best. It is a historical building. Mm-hmm. I mean, it will be hitting its centennial in 2028, which is coincidentally when he wants to have the museum open by. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a historic building. This is really cool. I'm sad that the idea of a haunted attraction, in addition to the museum, didn't seem to work out. But I am glad that if it can't be a haunted attraction, it can be a museum. It can still do something good and not just be an old dilapidated building that's falling down.
Yeah, and basically what they did on their Halloween nights were to talk about the history of the jail, because apparently it has a pretty sordid one. So.
I'm going to guess that pretty much any old jail has a sordid history somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because jails aren't known for holding the nicest and kindest and most wonderful people in the city.
Well, they're not... Well, anyway, there's a lot of problems with jails.
We're not getting into that.
I'm not getting into all that right now.
Well, let's go the opposite direction. Let's talk about a haunt that's expanding. Because a Thomasville haunted attraction is expanding to offer bands, food trucks, and a flea market. Mm-hmm. This is an interesting one. It's an article by Jill Doss Rains at the Dispatch. Castle Boo and Thomasville is opening a flea market and is expanding with year-round attractions starting Easter weekend, so it's already open. Mm-hmm. They are beginning hosting a flea market complete with food, music, and live bands. There is a $7 entry fee, and they will be open every Friday and Saturday until July due to heat, and they will be closed in July and August, but will resume in September. They said that they are still planning a regular haunt season this year. This is an interesting idea for a way to bring some year-round stuff to that property.
Yeah, it is. And
I had not thought of flea market. I got to be honest.
No, I had thought about, having, we had talked about the idea of the dark art market.
Yeah, and fairs and
during the season, but not as the year-round income.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I don't know why I didn't think of that, but it's a good idea.
It makes sense, and it is something, I know for a fact that there are several flea markets in this area that open every weekend.
Yeah.
You can rely on them to be there. And there are people who do go to them and sell at them, and people who do make pretty good money there. So obviously playing host to a flea market can be lucrative. And I don't know much about this town.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is Thomasville, North Carolina. I don't know much about this town other than what was in this article. So I don't know if it's a good fit for the area. But southern states in general do love a flea market, man. I'll tell you that much. The South loves a flea market. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I also found it interesting they're closing in July and August due to heat. It makes sense.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It makes complete sense. I just hadn't heard of that being done by a flea market before. Mm-hmm. But still, it's a very, very interesting idea. And I don't know. The main thing is we just wanted to kind of get this idea out there for other haunters to go, and stroke their chins at and have a think and a drink about. So that's really what this one's about.
Yeah, you could also totally host a goth night event at your haunt any time of the year, and people would show up.
Anyways, our next story. Mm-hmm. Did I read that one or did you? I totally forgot.
You did.
Okay, so it's your turn.
Yep. So there was talk that the 12-foot skelly from Home Depot was not going to return this year.
I don't understand why people thought that, but okay.
Yes. However, that has been proven false because they are definitely bringing it back. This article is by Chris Williams at Fox 4. It's going to return for the 2024 season, and it's going to have new companions and friends that are going to go on sale in August.
Yeah, they didn't actually announce when they're releasing it, but last year it went on sale in around August, so people are expecting it around then. So yes, the 12-foot skeleton will return. The $300 12-foot skeleton will be back for 2024, so get your wallets ready if you're going to buy. I guess, I don't know. We have had opportunities to acquire one and have chosen not to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm changing that this year or not.
I don't think so, because I think what I want to do is make a monster to go on top of the queue line that'll just sit up there all year. That's my current long-term plan.
That's reasonable. Yeah, I mean, I do think we need something big, but I don't know if that's the move.
Yeah.
Mind you, we probably should tell the local bar that they'll be selling them again just in case they need a replacement for the skeleton on their roof.
Yeah. Yeah, because they keep it out mostly year-round, except for in really bad weather and storms.
Which they've actually got a pretty clever system. They've got it bolted to like a platform that they can just tip over and lay him down gently when weather's coming. And so, and we're about to have really bad weather tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah.
I bet if we went to the bar right now, we'd see Skelly Down.
Yeah.
Basically, Skelly Down is our ultimate way of tracking when bad weather is coming. If the skeleton ain't vertical, we know to watch our ass.
Yeah. Skelly Downs also sounds like a country club of some kind for skeletons.
Yes, it does. All right. Well, this one is so cool. Registration is currently open for a haunting summer camp for kids. This is an article by Jim Morris at WJON. Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota. That's the town name, Inver Grove Heights. Is featuring Camp Nowhere. A camp where kids can learn, ages 8 to 12, can learn the art of haunting and scaring. There are 3 sessions. Each one is 2 weeks long and is $200. Mm-hmm. Kids will develop an original character with their own backstory, their own motivations. They'll learn design, mask design, with makeup and mask design. Mm-hmm. They'll learn haunt acting techniques, learn about animatronics.
Yeah.
And basically, the grand finale is all the parents have to go through a haunted house that they're scaring that the kids are working. And they are limiting this. They say they need at least 8 kids to make it viable and can only go up to 20. So if you're in the area and you are interested, I would jump on this right now. Tuition for each session is $200. Mm-hmm. That is a fucking steal. Honestly, I if I were a kid, I'd be very excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
And I mean, I was never a summer camp kid, to be clear.
No.
Like my little brother, who is hearing impaired, had a summer camp when he was a kid for deaf kids, and he loved it. Mm-hmm. I told my parents if they drop me off at summer camp, don't come pick me up, just because I'm gone. I'm living in the wilds, baby. But no, I never wanted a summer. Like, oh, we could take you to computer camp. No. I got a computer at home.
Yeah.
But no, this is a summer camp I would have loved. And honestly, this is just so cool. These kids are going to come out, at 12 years old with a better understanding of haunting than most grown-ups who have worked in haunts a long time. Mm-hmm. They're definitely more rounded because in addition to learning all this because they're learning about how to scare, but they're also learning costume, makeup, animatronics, all this other stuff that even very talented actors don't always get.
Yeah.
You don't get exposure to. So that's really freaking cool. Speaking of cool.
All right. There's a new co-op horror game that lets you go viral on SpookTube or die trying. The game is called Content Warning. The goal is to produce viral videos for a virtual SpookTube. So it's not a real channel.
Yeah, obviously.
It's just in the game.
Yeah.
To get likes and stuff. And so you and your buddies need to scare each other and avoid enemies and get great footage all at the same time. And if that sounds easy from the review, it's not.
All of the reviews I've read, I read a couple of others in addition to this one. Mm-hmm. And this is an article by Ishan Adakari at BBAM. Mm-hmm. Or B-Bomb, B-Bam, B-Boom, B-Bomb, B-Bomb, B-Boom, B-Bam, B-Boom, B-Bam, Boom, Boom.
It's BEEBOM.com.
B-Boom, Boom, Bam, Bam, Boom, Boom.
He's brilliant.
Bam, Boom. Yeah, it's $8, but it's $8. But yeah, the reviews say it is surprisingly difficult. Now, the game is in early access, so it could be tweaked and changed. Mm-hmm. Like one thing they have right now is apparently when your character gets hurt, you get a medical bill. Because it's obviously an American game, but that medical bill right now is always $0, for example. So it's still early access. Features are being developed. You'll be play testing basically. Just understand what you're doing. But it does look like a lot of fun. We may pick up 2 copies of it and give it a try at some point.
Yeah.
I think that might be something fun to do, and just to see how well we do at it.
When we want to take a break from Diablo.
Diablo 4, yeah, not a bad idea. All right, well, this next one is from a post by Sean McKinney at Hunter's Hangout. Now, unfortunately, since it's in Hunter's Hangout, I'm going to assume most people listening to this podcast are members of Hunter's Hangout.
Yeah, and already know this.
Or maybe even already familiar with this. But basically, this link, if you're not a member of the group, you can't access the link, is what I'm saying. So just be aware of that. But anyways, but apparently Sean went to Transworld and did a very Transworld thing. Picked up some props from the company Ghost Ride. We saw their props when we were there. Excellent stuff. And then stopped at nearby Litchfield. And after going and eating and gassing up and whatever they were doing.
Doing their little stop.
Doing the stop. They found cops surrounding their car.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone had filed a disturbance call saying there was dead bodies in the back or something. And basically, he opened the door, showed him the dummies, and showed him the ones in the trunk. And the cops had a nice big laugh about it. And all was well. I do worry a little bit, though, because A, obviously police resources were diverted.
Mm-hmm.
B, any interaction with a cop has the potential to go bad.
Yeah.
But also just someone that we didn't intend to scare got scared, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not like blaming Sean or anything like that. It's not about that. But yeah, it's just maybe we should all be a little more thoughtful about how we transport our props. Like, I still feel kind of weird about the fact we transported a coffin closet post Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. I mean, that was very, looking back on it, that was a moment. So yeah, I don't know. Just something to think about.
Yeah, but our coffin closet isn't like...
Oh, it didn't look enough like an actual casket or anything. No, it didn't. It didn't look real at all. This is Ghost Ride. Ghost Ride does very amazingly realistic stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see why, but people got freaked, and yeah, maybe we need to think more about how we're transporting these things, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. This one, funny story, everyone's fine, everyone's happy, no problems here, no one's blamed, no reason to be mad or cross. But as an industry, as a people, we should be thinking, okay, yeah, maybe we
should take a sheet to throw over the shit in the back.
Maybe we should think about this so something worse doesn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
All right, so this is fun and good news. The Willy Wonka experience, the unknown from it, the
silver mask, black robe thing,
behind
wig.
the mirror that was totally not from Willy Wonka anywhere.
Bless this actor for trying, though. Jesus Christ.
Well, exactly. The actor who played the unknown, Felicia Dawkins, now has a new gig. And this article is by Bethy Squires at vulture.com. So, got a new gig. They're now at a year-round employee of the London Dungeon. First show was April 7th. Says she likes being in a professional environment.
And she used the word professional. That was her words, to be clear. Go ahead.
Where the script isn't AI generated.
Not that the unknown had many speaking parts.
No, it was like... Woo! Wobble around and be spooky.
Jesus Christ. They worked so fucking hard with absolute nothing.
Calls it a dream come true. She'll be playing a nun, a jester, and the tower warden. No shiny mask required.
Yeah, the London Dungeon, I can say this definitively. We've been to England a few times, but we've never been to London, oddly enough. We've been to Newcastle, we've been in the northern part of England. England and Scotland. But even there, you see ads for the London Dungeon. You also see for the Edinburgh Dungeon too. They had a second one, basically. But these are very popular tourist year-round attractions that seem to be pretty well regarded from what I've heard. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is great. I'm glad that Felicia has found a gig that makes them happy, that she's enjoying it. And that hopefully she can get away from the whole unknown thing. I mean,
it seems like she has.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, even when we were talking about it last, it was like I felt so bad for those actors. Because any haunt actor who has been put in a shit role that was just not working, and no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much you bring to it, nothing's coming together. Imagine that, but now there's only 3 of you and there are kids crying everywhere because they're disappointed.
Yeah.
Just, oh my God, I felt so bad for the actors. I felt bad for the customers too, but the actors, who didn't even, to my knowledge, still have not been fully paid.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, I just realized that. Hopefully she's making good money here to make up for the money she didn't get paid at the Willy Wonka event.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I'm hoping. All right. Well, finally, this week, we're going to end with a compilation video. Now, obviously, we're an audio-only podcast. We can't share the video, but please click the link. Now, I have no idea where the original source of this is, because it clearly started on TikTok, but it's been shared, but the version we saw was on X/Twitter or whatever. And it's been passed around so many times, the attribution has just been completely borked that I've found.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a bunch of people getting pranked with haunted dolls. Now, as someone who that's the closest thing he has to a phobia is creepy dolls,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I understand these reactions. Because basically, the reason I want haunters to see this is because whoever was doing it was fucking brilliant with the timing.
Yeah.
Like, they would give like a little move, just enough so that the person was like, huh? Is that something? Then another little move. And now they're really paying attention. And then bam! To the moon!
Yeah.
And so just brilliant timing in these. I don't know how many takes they had where it didn't work, or if this is acted, or it could just be acted. Like
It could be staged.
Could be staged. But even if it is staged, the timings in this are excellent, and I do think it's something that haunters can learn from to see how this kind of timing worked. I enjoyed the video. I found it fun, and even if it is staged, it's still a fun video with something to offer.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, like I said, I don't know if it's staged or not. I don't know where it came from. It landed in my lap the most obnoxious way possible. A copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. I have no fucking idea where it came from.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for joining us this week. Please do check out the show notes for this week's episode. You'll find them at hauntweekly.com. There, all of the links to all of the stories and all the creepy doll videos we've talked about will be there. You can also find us at Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly, and of course, wherever you prefer to get your podcast from. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we'll see you all next week, hopefully on time, and hopefully with something really fun and really exciting to share with you. I have no idea what it is right now.
Nope.
We'll see you all then.